Lena Whitmore stood in the kitchen of her two-bedroom apartment, the silence louder than any argument she'd ever had with Marcus. The divorce papers lay on the counter, his signature a jagged scar across her life. 18 years of marriage, gone. He'd left her for Kayla, a 29-year-old coworker with a laugh like wind chimes and a wardrobe Lena could no longer afford. Their daughter, Amara, was away at college, leaving Lena to face an empty nest and an emptier bank account. At 42, she was starting over with nothing but a high school diploma and a heart that felt like it had been run through a shredder. That first night alone, Lena didn't sleep. She sat on the couch, clutching a mug of chamomile tea that had gone cold hours ago, its chipped rim biting into her palm. The clock ticked past 3 a.m., each second a reminder of her failures. She'd given up her dreams of college to support Marcus's career, to raise Amara, to be the perfect wife and mother. Now, her reflection in the darkened TV screen showed a woman she barely recognized, eyes sunken, braids unraveling, shoulders slumped under the weight of self-doubt. Who am I without them? The question clawed at her, and the answer was worse, nobody. She traced the mug's crack with her thumb, remembering the day Amara dropped it, giggling an apology. The memory twisted the knife deeper. Lena had built her life around others, and now they were gone. The humiliation burned deepest when she applied for jobs. Retail associate was all she could land, folding sweaters at a department store for $12 an hour. The polyester uniform scratched her skin, and the fluorescent lights buzzed like a judgment. Customers snapped at her, their impatience slicing through her fragile confidence. "This isn't folded right," a woman barked, tossing a cardigan at her. Lena mumbled an apology, her cheeks hot. Co-workers half her age whispered about her sad vibe, their pity worse than scorn. She overheard one, a 19-year-old named Brianna, say, "She's too old to be starting from scratch." Lena wanted to scream that she'd balanced a household budget tighter than a drum, that she'd negotiated Amara's medical bills down to pennies, that she was capable. But the words stuck in her throat, drowned by the fear that Brianna was right. Each shift ended with her feet aching and her pride in tatters, the drive home a blur of taillights and regret. Lena tried to shield Amara from her unraveling. During their weekly calls, she'd force a smile into her voice, asking about dorm life and biology labs. But Amara wasn't fooled. "Mom, you sound tired," she'd say, her concern a needle in Lena's heart. Lena would lie, "Just a long day, baby," and hang up, the silence rushing back. She'd walk past Amara's empty room, the bed still made with the purple quilt they'd picked out together, and feel the ache of absence. Her life felt like a house with no walls, exposed to every storm. Her rock bottom came on a rainy Tuesday, 6 months after the divorce. She'd scraped together $300 for a used laptop, its keys sticky but functional, hoping it might open doors. Instead, it mocked her with job rejections, emails that read like polite slaps, "We've chosen a candidate with more experience." That night, she found a crumpled photo in a drawer, her, Marcus, and Amara at a beach picnic, laughing under a Carolina sunset. Amara's tiny hand clutched a seashell, Marcus's arm was slung around Lena's waist, his grin wide. The memory stung like salt in a wound. She tore the photo in half, sobbing until her chest ached, the pieces fluttering to the floor. "I'm done," she whispered to the empty room. "I can't do this." She curled up on the carpet, its rough fibers scraping her cheek, and let the rain's rhythm drown her thoughts. The apartment smelled of damp plaster and despair, and for the first time, Lena wondered if she'd ever climb out of this hole. The next morning, sunlight crept through the blinds, painting stripes across the hardwood. Lena lay there, staring at a crack in the ceiling, until her phone buzzed. It was Amara, her voice cutting through the fog. "Mom, you're stronger than you think," she said, steady with belief Lena couldn't feel. "You raised me. You can do anything." It wasn't a cure, but it was enough to get her off the floor. She brewed coffee, the bitter scent grounding her, and sat at the kitchen table, Googling, "Start over at 40." A link for Coastal Community College popped up, and something stirred, a flicker of the girl who'd once dreamed of running her own business, her mother's voice in her ear, "Keep going, baby." That afternoon, Lena drove to campus, hands trembling as she filled out the enrollment form. Accounting caught her eye, not glamorous, but practical, a way to rebuild. She signed up for night classes, the first in her family to chase a degree. The weight of that felt both heavy and holy, like her mother's old Bible, worn soft from years of prayer. College was no fairy tale. Lena worked 9 to 5 at the store, her uniform clinging to her skin, then drove to campus for classes that ran until 10 p.m. Her '03 Corolla rattled, the AC long dead, leaving her sweaty and frazzled by the time she slid into a lecture hall seat. Her classmates, mostly 20-somethings in hoodies and sneakers, eyed her like an intruder. "You're, like, my mom's age," one girl named Kaylee said, flipping her blonde ponytail, not unkindly, but it stung. Professors assumed she'd coast, not compete, their smiles patronizing. "Just do your best, Mrs. Whitmore," one said, as if effort was all she had. Lena bit her tongue, her notebook filling with meticulous notes, her determination a quiet fire, her first accounting exam, a brutal mix of debits, credits, and journal entries. Came back with a 52. Failure in red ink. She sat in her car afterward, rain hammering the roof, and cried, the paper crumpled in her fist. "I'm too old for this," she told herself. "I'm not smart enough." She gripped the steering wheel, picturing Marcus's smirk if he knew she'd failed, and nearly drove home to quit. The windshield blurred, not just from rain but from tears, and she remembered the day she'd taught Amara to ride a bike, how she'd fallen, scraped her knee, and gotten back up because Lena said, "You can." Now, Lena needed to be her own cheerleader, something stubborn sparked inside her. She thought of her mother, who'd cleaned houses to feed 4 kids, her hands cracked from bleach, never once complaining. If she could do that, I can do this. The next day, Lena marched to the tutoring center, her sneakers squeaking on the linoleum, and met Dr. Clarence Hayes, a retired black accounting professor volunteering his time. His eyes crinkled when he smiled, and his voice carried the warmth of a Sunday sermon. "You're not here to fail, Lena," he said, adjusting his wire-rimmed glasses. "You're here to rewrite your story." He wore a tweed blazer, frayed at the cuffs, and his office smelled of old books and peppermint, a sanctuary from her doubts. Dr. Hayes became her lifeline. He broke down balance sheets like they were recipes, showed her how numbers told stories of survival. "Accounting isn't just math," he said, tapping a textbook with a pencil. "It's order from chaos. It's power." Lena clung to that, the idea that she could tame the mess of her life with columns and calculations. She studied at her kitchen table until 2 a.m., highlighters bleeding yellow across her notes, the coffee maker her only companion. Her apartment smelled of burnt toast and desperation, but slowly, the numbers clicked. A 78 on her next exam. Then an 85. By her second semester, she cracked a 92, NDR. Hayes taped her paper to his office door with a note, "Lena Whitmore, future CPA." She stared at it, her throat tight, and snapped a photo for Amara, who texted back a string of heart emojis. Her classmates' condescension faded as her grades climbed, but not entirely. Kaylee, the ponytail girl, rolled her eyes when Lena answered questions in class, muttering, "Teacher's pet." Lena ignored her, but it stung. One night, she miscalculated a ledger during a group project, and Kaylee snickered. "Thought you were the star," she said, her voice sharp. Lena's face burned, her fingers tightening around her pencil. She wanted to snap back, to list every sacrifice, every missed meal, every sleepless night, but instead, she forced a smile. "Even stars stumble," she said, and kept working. Later, alone in the library, she cried into her textbook, the pages smudging. "Why is this so hard?" But she remembered Dr. Hayes's words, "Prove them wrong with your work." She stretched every paycheck, skipping dinners to afford textbooks, her fridge stocked with ramen and hope. The store's break room became her second classroom, where she'd study during lunch, ignoring co-workers' chatter about reality TV and weekend plans. Brianna, the 19-year-old, softened over time, slipping Lena an extra granola bar one day. "You're always working," she said, almost shy. "It's kinda cool." Lena smiled, surprised, and tucked the bar into her bag, a small kindness that carried her through a double shift. Amara noticed her mother's transformation, even from miles away. Their calls grew longer, filled with stories of Lena's classes and Amara's bio labs. When Lena made the dean's list, Amara flew home for a weekend, her suitcase bumping against the apartment's narrow walls. They cooked collards and cornbread, the kitchen steaming with memories of better days. Amara hugged her mother so tight it hurt, her voice thick. "I'm so proud of you, Mom. You're killing it." Lena's eyes stung as she framed the certificate, hanging it above her desk, a reminder she wasn't invisible anymore. They stayed up late, watching old movies, Amara's head on Lena's shoulder. "You're my hero," Amara whispered, half asleep. Lena kissed her forehead, tears falling silently. Imposter syndrome stalked her, a shadow that grew darker with every success. Even as she aced intermediate accounting, she'd wake up at night, heart racing, convinced she didn't belong. What if they find out I'm faking it? She'd stand in her bathroom, braids loose, and repeat affirmations in the mirror. "You earned this. You're enough." Dr. Hayes helped, sharing his own story of being the only black CPA in his firm in the 80s. "They'll doubt you," he said, sipping coffee in his cluttered office, bookshelves sagging behind him. "Let them. Prove them wrong." He gave her a worn copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X, dog-eared at a line, "Education is the passport to the future." Lena read it until the pages curled, her mother's Bible now joined by a new gospel. She found an unexpected ally in Mrs. Gloria, her neighbor, a 70-year-old widow who'd raised 3 kids alone. Gloria knocked one evening, holding a plate of peach cobbler, its cinnamon scent filling the hall. "You're out here fighting," she said, her voice raspy from years of laughter and loss. "Don't you quit." They'd sit on Gloria's porch, sipping sweet tea, while Gloria shared stories of her own struggles, segregated schools, a factory job, a husband gone too soon. "You're carrying your mama's strength," Gloria said, patting Lena's hand. "And mine." The words became armor, and Lena started bringing Gloria her accounting notes, explaining debits and credits while Gloria nodded, proud as if Lena were her own. The scholarship loomed like a mountain. Lena needed a 3.8 GPA to qualify for the full-ride transfer to State University's accounting program. Her grades teetered, 3.76 after a brutal tax accounting class where depreciation schedules haunted her dreams. She doubled down, skipping sleep, surviving on coffee and determination. She'd study in the store's break room, her pencil scratching through practice problems, the hum of a vending machine her soundtrack. One night, Dr. Hayes caught her after class, a thermos of chamomile tea in hand. "You're burning out," he said gently, his brow creased. "Rest isn't surrender." She nodded, but didn't listen, not yet. Her eyes were bloodshot, her hands shaky, but quitting wasn't an option. Her lowest moment came midterm, when she bombed a financial accounting quiz. The professor, a stern white man named Dr. Ellison, handed back her paper, 48. "You're slipping, Ms. Whitmore," he said, loud enough for the class to hear, his voice clipped. Shame coiled in her gut, Kaylee's smirk burning into her. Lena skipped the next class, hiding in her apartment, the curtains drawn, her laptop unopened. She ignored Dr. Hayes's calls, convinced she'd proven everyone right. She didn't belong. Gloria noticed, banging on her door with a thermos of soup. "You're not built to break," Gloria said, her eyes fierce. "Get up." Lena cried, hugging her, the soup's warmth seeping into her hands. Amara called that night, sensing trouble across the miles. "Mom, you didn't come this far to stop," she said, her voice steady. "You're my hero." The word hero broke something open in Lena. She returned to campus the next day, apologized to Dr. Hayes, and rebuilt her focus, one ledger at a time. She joined a study group with Jamal, the quiet kid who'd asked for her notes, and a shy girl named Priya, who'd moved from Mumbai to chase her own dreams. They'd meet at a diner, splitting fries and flashcards, their laughter easing Lena's tension. Jamal called her the professor, and Priya sketched her a cartoon of Lena as a superhero, cape flying. Lena taped it to her fridge, next to Dr. Patel's note, "Don't let anyone dim your light." When final grades posted, Lena opened the portal with shaking hands, her laptop screen glaring in the dark. 3.82. She screamed, then cried, then called Amara, who whooped so loud Lena had to hold the phone away. The scholarship was hers. She celebrated with Dr. Hayes at the diner, splitting a slice of pecan pie, its crust flaky and sweet. "You're not just surviving," he said, raising his coffee mug. "You're thriving." Lena laughed, the sound foreign and free, her reflection in the diner's window showing a woman reclaiming herself. State University was a different beast, bigger, faster, more competitive. Lena quit retail for a part-time clerk gig at a local accounting firm, filing invoices and learning QuickBooks on the fly. Her classes, auditing, managerial accounting, demanded precision, their textbooks thicker than her arm. She'd sit in lecture halls, often the only black woman over 40, and feel eyes on her. But she spoke up, her voice steady, her answers sharp. Dr. Patel, a finance professor, pulled her aside after a presentation on cash flow analysis. "You've got a knack for this," she said, her accent warm. "Don't let anyone dim your light." Lena tape. She'd study in the store's break room, her pencil scratching through practice problems, the hum of a vending machine her soundtrack. One night, Dr. Hayes caught her after class, a thermos of chamomile tea in hand. "You're burning out," he said gently, his brow creased. "Rest isn't surrender." She nodded, but didn't listen, not yet. Her eyes were bloodshot, her hands shaky, but quitting wasn't an option. Her lowest moment came midterm, when she bombed a financial accounting quiz. The professor, a stern white man named Dr. Ellison, handed back her paper. 48. "You're slipping, Ms. Whitmore," he said, loud enough for the class to hear, his voice clipped. Shame coiled in her gut, Kaylee's smirk burning into her. Lena skipped the next class, hiding in her apartment, the curtains drawn, her laptop unopened. She ignored Dr. Hayes's calls, convinced she'd proven everyone right. She didn't belong. Gloria noticed, banging on her door with a thermos of soup. "You're not built to break," Gloria said, her eyes fierce. "Get up." Lena cried, hugging her, the soup's warmth seeping into her hands. Amara called that night, sensing trouble across the miles. "Mom, you didn't come this far to stop," she said, her voice steady. "You're my hero." The word hero broke something open in Lena. She returned to campus the next day, apologized to Dr. Hayes, and rebuilt her focus, one ledger at a time. She joined a study group with Jamal, the quiet kid who'd asked for her notes, and a shy girl named Priya, who'd moved from Mumbai to chase her own dreams. They'd meet at a diner, splitting fries and flashcards, their laughter easing Lena's tension. Jamal called her the professor, and Priya sketched her a cartoon of Lena as a superhero, cape flying. Lena taped it to her fridge, next to Dr. Patel's note, "Don't let anyone dim your light." When final grades posted, Lena opened the portal with shaking hands, her laptop screen glaring in the dark. 3.82. She screamed, then cried, then called Amara, who whooped so loud Lena had to hold the phone away. The scholarship was hers. She celebrated with Dr. Hayes at the diner, splitting a slice of pecan pie, its crust flaky and sweet. "You're not just surviving," he said, raising his coffee mug. "You're thriving." Lena laughed, the sound foreign and free, her reflection in the diner's window showing a woman reclaiming herself. State University was a different beast, bigger, faster, more competitive. Lena quit retail for a part-time clerk gig at a local accounting firm, filing invoices and learning QuickBooks on the fly. Her classes, auditing, managerial accounting, demanded precision, their textbooks thicker than her arm. She'd sit in lecture halls, often the only black woman over 40, and feel eyes on her. But she spoke up, her voice steady, her answers sharp. Dr. Patel, a finance professor, pulled her aside after a presentation on cash flow analysis. "You've got a knack for this," she said, her accent warm. "Don't let anyone dim your light." Lena tape. Connor mumbled an apology, but Lena didn't need it. She'd learned to trust her voice. At the firm, her boss, a harried woman named Diane, leaned on Lena's knack for spotting errors, but never praised her. Lena stayed late, double-checking ledgers, her desk lamp casting shadows on the wall. "You're invisible until you're indispensable," Gloria told her, and Lena took it to heart. Her degree, the first in her family, came with honors, her cap soaring into the sky as Amara cheered from the stands. The ceremony was a blur of pride and sweat, the June sun baking the quad. Lena's mother wasn't there, she'd passed when Amara was 10, but Lena felt her, a whisper in the breeze. "You did it, baby." The diploma wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a legacy, a promise kept. Lena landed a job at Harper & Stone, a mid-sized financial firm, starting at $78,000, $3,000 more than Marcus's peak as a regional manager. She ran the numbers in her head, the quiet satisfaction like a cool drink after a long run. She bought a navy suit, tailored to her curves, and wore it like armor, its fabric smooth against her skin. 5 years after the divorce, Lena stood at Amara's college graduation, a vision in that suit, her braids swept into an elegant updo, gold beads glinting. Her smile was radiant, carved from years of grit. The campus buzzed with families, caps flying, cameras flashing. Amara, in her gown, hugged Lena, whispering, "You're why I made it." Lena's throat tightened, her daughter's pride a mirror of her own. Marcus was there, too, his tie askew, his face lined with regret. His affair had unraveled his career, whispers of unprofessionalism cost him promotions, leaving him stuck in a dead-end role, his charisma faded. He approached Lena after the ceremony, Amara off taking photos with friends. "You look incredible," he said, voice low, eyes tracing her confidence. "I messed up, Lena. You were always the strong one." The words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through her. She didn't need his validation anymore, but hearing it felt like closing a door. "I know," she said simply, her voice steady, and walked away, head high, the grass soft under her heels. At Harper & Stone, Lena's corner office overlooked the city skyline, a sea of glass and steel shimmering at dusk. Photos lined her desk, her graduation, cap tossed skyward, and Amara's, their arms around each other. She'd fought imposter syndrome daily, especially in meetings where she was often the only black woman. Her first big project, analyzing a client's tax liabilities, saved $200,000, earning her a promotion to senior associate. Her reports were crisp, her insights sharp, but doubts whispered in quiet moments, "You're a fraud." She countered them with action, mentoring younger analysts, her feedback kind but precise. Her team called her the closer for her knack at sealing deals, and she wore the nickname like a badge. One day, a 38-year-old intern named Tasha knocked on her door, nervous, her hands twisting. They met weekly, dissecting balance sheets, building Tasha's confidence. Lena taught her to navigate accruals, to trust her instincts. Months later, when Tasha passed her first CPA exam section, she hugged Lena, tears streaming. "You saved me," she said. Lena shook her head, smiling. "You saved yourself. I just showed you the way." The moment felt full circle, a debt repaid to Dr. Hayes's kindness. Lena framed Tasha's thank you note, hanging it beside her degree. Her career soared. She led a team auditing a Fortune 500 client, her reports praised for clarity and insight. Her salary climbed to $92,000, a number that would have made her mother gasp. She bought a small condo, its balcony overlooking a park where kids played, their laughter a reminder of Amara's childhood. She'd cook Sunday dinners, smothered chicken, candied yams, inviting Tasha, Jamal, now a junior accountant, and Priya, who'd started her own small business. They'd laugh over wine, sharing stories and dreams, the table a tapestry of their journeys. Lena's life felt full, not perfect, but hers. She stayed close to her roots. She volunteered at the community college, tutoring non-traditional students, their faces mirroring her own hunger. One, a single dad named Reuben, thanked her with a handwritten card, "You made me believe I could." Lena cried reading it, thinking of Gloria, who'd passed that year. She planted a peach tree in Gloria's memory, its blossoms a promise to keep giving back. Dr. Hayes retired fully, but they met for coffee monthly, his laughter still a balm. "You're my legacy," he told her, and Lena hugged him, her mentor, her friend. One evening, Lena leaned back in her office chair, gazing at the photos. Her degree hung on the wall, its gold seal catching the light. The skyline glowed, a constellation of her triumphs. She thought of the nights she'd wanted to quit, the mornings she'd chosen to fight. Her mother's voice echoed. "Keep going, baby. You're almost there." Lena's life had burned to ashes, but from that destruction, she'd built something unbreakable, a career, a legacy, a self she loved. She opened her laptop, drafting an email to a scholarship fund she'd started for single mothers, her fingers steady. Sometimes, she realized, you have to lose everything to find who you were always meant to be.